Get the bottle out of the way, huh?
Sure. Welcome back to the Texas Hold'em Fast Poker Podcast.
I cannot wait to talk about flushes, draws. We're going to talk about rivering a straight. We're going to talk about double barreling a bluff.
It would be funny if we purposely try to make it a bad episode by just talking about poker.
Yeah, well, okay. So the thing is, if you 3-bet the river,
Yeah.
you gotta have something better than three of a kind.
That's kind of what I've been thinking lately, because I've been meditating more.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking a lot about the river. When,
There's no way your leg shake isn't picking up.
Siddhartha
Gautama.
You hate my leg shakes. But yeah, when he found enlightenment, he was by the river,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I spend most of my, days at Morongo Resort and Casino
Yeah.
by the river of Texas Hold'em, because I kind of think everything is congruent and stacks upon itself.
Yeah.
And, everything's still made out of carbon. So the cards are made out of the same molecules as water.
Well, life follows the principles of fractal tectonics. And that's
Yes.
exactly what I think when I go to the Commerce Casino and I see a Lithuanian man next to me with one tooth FaceTiming his wife on a phone that... people whose phones are so fucked up, they have to have those battery packs with them at all time.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that? And the cord is always frayed.
Mm-hmm.
And they're using that phone to FaceTime their wife while simultaneously switching back to pornography. And that's what I think about. I think about fractal tectonics when I'm at the Commerce Casino and that guy's next to me.
Is that a thing you've seen?
I've seen a guy at a poker table watching pornography on his phone while cards are being dealt.
Just watching porn.
So have my friend. So is Nate and Will. Like everybody's seen it at one point or another. Yeah.
Have you ever? Because I've talked about this on the podcast. I started jerking off to artisanal, small business pictures on Reddit.
What do you mean by small business pictures?
Just people posting their own pictures. I was trying to think of a funny way to describe it.
Right. Some mom and pop nudes.
Some of them are small businesses. A lot of them are just dudes that like showing cock.
Yeah, they show a little bit of cock.
But it's on my phone. And sometimes I'm bored on my phone, and I'll be out, and then my brain will be like, "You can look at porn," and then I'm like, "No, I can't."
Yeah.
But there is a part of my brain that's like, "Well, that would be entertaining." I'm like, "But I can't jerk off right now."
That's the action of a guy who's been retired and just got his first phone like 5 years ago. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of grown men in public spaces watching pornography on their phones. We all have. It's Los Angeles. It's the city of the stars.
I'm honestly trying to think. I feel like I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
Surprisingly.
See, dude, that's fucking hanging out at casinos, which I'm so glad I do because it really does. As if comedy doesn't give me enough of this, but you really meet greasy people.
Yeah, you do meet some. Yeah, it must be just pieces of shit.
Shabby folk.
Yeah, and can you smoke in them in California?
You can't.
Right?
That's I think if you go to a Native American casino, you can.
Oh, okay.
There's like those places are sick because there's like, those were the first places where they were able to do cage fighting.
Really?
Because they have different rules. Bare knuckle boxing is like a new thing that people are really into. Oh, what's going on?
I just saw that blue flag, so I pressed it because I haven't seen it. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's fine. I think I just marked something in the episode for no reason. Lewis is gone.
Yeah, Lewis left.
He's in fucking France.
Getting sucked off
being
in France.
Gay.
Yeah.
And Matt is in San Francisco being gay.
Yeah, they both really did. Like, LA wasn't gay enough for either of them, and that shows how high level they are.
Yeah, Matt is doing a bicycle ride from San Francisco to California
for AIDS
to be gay.
Yeah.
And
to raise money for AIDS funding.
To continue being gay.
And also to continue being gay.
In a way, you're supporting, safely continuing to be gay.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, he wants a better environment to be gay in.
It's selfish. We're acting like he's raising money. It's for him.
He just wants to think less when he's getting absolutely...
Yeah.
Just...
He's putting money in his own pocket.
Right. That is true, dude. He's padding his pockets.
It's pure profit.
This is tax breaks for the rich.
Yeah. So, it's going to be badly edited.
It'll be fine.
If it even comes out with video. Wait, but bare knuckle boxing, so that's happening?
Bare knuckle boxing is happening, so all these like retired boxers and UFC fighters are getting into bare knuckle boxing matches. I don't know if this has changed, but up until at least recently, they have to do it on like Native American land because it's the only place they can allow it. And I mean, the rule against it is asinine because it's like, oh, so it's different if you have like a little glove on.
Yeah.
It's stupid. It's very stupid that that's a rule. Also, bare knuckle boxing has been shown to be better for your brain.
Really?
Because so what gloves and stuff do is it stops you from getting cut. Like that's the big reason. So it's mostly aesthetic because in the early days of boxing and like especially mixed martial arts, they had to clean things up because like lawmakers would see the fights and everybody was just like dripping in blood.
Right.
And they were like, well, we're not going to legalize this. John McCain was one of the biggest people against it. He was like, we can't have this.
Against bare knuckle boxing?
Yeah, which is weird because he was in the army. You know what I mean?
Well, he was a pussy in the army.
No.
I'm not even talking about getting captured. I'm talking about the fact. I'm not even talking about the capture yet.
Sure. Yeah.
He crashed 2 planes before the third one.
Is that true?
Yeah, and the only reason he was allowed to stay is because his fucking dad is in the military.
Right.
He shouldn't have even been allowed to crash the plane that got him captured.
But he stayed getting tortured.
For no reason.
Yeah, but I like that. I like a man who self-flagellates.
I don't know. It's like, to me, if I got out of 5 years of torture, he could get out because of his dad.
Right,
but
he could have.
If I was being tortured for 5 years and I got out, then John McCain was like, I decided to stay too. I'd be like, you're a fucking idiot. What are you doing, John? Go home.
Yeah, if he was like the unpopular guy and he was like, they're like, thank God John's getting out.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, phew.
Yeah, at least he's not fucking bothering us.
We can go back to playing cards.
People act like John McCain saved the other guys.
He just kind of chilled with them.
He just chilled.
He was chilling.
Yeah, I don't, unless, he didn't do shit. That was like Trump. I hate Trump. We didn't know this, but that was one of Trump's greatest things ever.
Attacking John McCain.
Yeah.
Why do you think it was a great thing?
Because it was just the wording of it. He said, I want my veterans to be heroes or something.
It was, I like people who didn't get caught.
Yeah.
Right. Like, as though, because that shows to him war is a game of capture the flag.
Yes.
He's literally like, no, either you get caught or you don't.
Yep. I like it.
As though there's not people who are like, who serve in the military and never get caught because they don't like see combat. They're like mechanics and stuff, which is also important. But just the idea that the merit of a person's military action is solely based on whether or not they were caught.
Yeah.
As though that's the goal of war, who catches the most people.
To
like,
catch.
I gotcha.
It's like chess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and he said that, I think, as a president. I don't think he was running. I think he was currently the president. And I think John McCain just said something rude about him. And then he just came right back with that.
Yeah, it is crazy how on the surface his like vitriol and hate was. Do you know what I mean? It was right there.
Well, because I think what was so hilarious too is the vitriol and hate is one thing. It was the cattiness.
Yeah.
That was astounding.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if a president is so angry to be publicly shitting on someone, it'll almost make sense if they're more angry. It makes less sense that he would just fire off passive-aggressive comments.
But that's just who he was. And you know what's funny is when you listen to old Nixon tapes and stuff, that's how he was in private. Like, he was like a weirdo. Not in the same way, but I think if he had less of a filter on him, we would have seen similar things from him.
Oh, totally.
But yeah, anyway, Matt and Lewis are gone. We're running the asylum. You had a night last night.
Yeah, it was an outside produced show at the Comedy Store.
Which means what?
It means that the club is not putting on the show. It means the club has rented out the room.
Being rented out by another person.
To a group of people. And it's just something about whenever because everybody wants to perform at the Comedy Store in LA. So all of the comics that come are very excited and very entitled because they're like, I'm performing at the Comedy Store.
I think that's where I set myself apart. Is I never want to perform at the Comedy Store.
And that's what's cool about you.
I buy low, sell high.
Yeah.
So I go to the Ha Ha Cafe.
How's that going?
It's all I care about.
How's it going at the Ha Ha
I'm trying to
Cafe?
get in. I'm trying to get a doorman spot. They've been very unreceptive to my pleas, but you got to stick it out.
I would stop.
Why?
I just don't know. You know what is so funny is like I could shit on that place, but Gabriel Iglesias, like not a lot of the clubs in LA fucked with him, and he just started at Ha Ha.
Dude, it rocks.
He recently did Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, dude. I gotta say this. Sometimes fucking rules. It's the best.
Yeah,
it's the best.
Do you do shows there now?
I have the shows that I've done there. It's like it feels like the road.
If it's a packed room, it's a packed room.
But so there's an outside produced show at the Comedy Store.
It's an outside produced show, and so it's just a much different energy. It's not people don't really act like they're coming to the Comedy Store. They act like they are the Comedy Store
because they're putting on the show. Whoever's doing the outside show.
But it's not just them. It's everybody. It's like the comics have a certain energy. Their friends have a certain energy. And it's also a black show. So a lot of times if I'm working the room, I think me telling people not to film sounds the same as like get to the back of the bus.
I have to say this, as far as white people who could be in charge of that room go, you might be the worst.
I might be the worst.
You might be, because like I don't think this about you, but at first glance, I'm not. If I'm a black person who came to see a black show and have a good time, and you're the person telling me to not do something, I'm not listening either.
Yeah, I got a new haircut.
Yeah,
and I know what my face looks like.
Yeah,
and I
you got a real I had a trust fund haircut. Yeah. You got a real I've been around yachts sort of haircut. Yes. You know what I mean?
Right. And any way I approach it, it's a look of malice.
You got the haircut of a guy whose dad creates jobs but not good ones.
Right. Yeah. No, my dad has gold guns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a lot of wood in our house.
Yeah.
A lot of wood.
You got the haircut of a guy whose dad has a table at a restaurant that he goes to all the time, and he's not saying anything good for women or people of color at that table. No.
Which is funny because my dad is
literally a poet.
Yeah, a liberal poet.
He's a liberal poet
who's like still mad at Trump.
Yeah,
Very
they all
funny.
are. They don't have anything else to do.
I don't get it.
Yeah, those older people who are like never Trump people. It's like, all right, he's gone, and they're like, well, he's still bad.
Yeah, he's like the Trumpians.
They're like, he's gonna come back. It's like, do you want him to? Like, it feels like you want him to.
Yeah, I don't get it. But it was funny, and so like I have a thing of like, I'm not gonna, most of the time at the Comedy Store I don't try and enforce all the rules. But there's just like two things that just kind of can't happen, which is like one is like kind of getting in the way of the server because that's money. And you can't stop us from getting the drinks out. And then two is just taking pictures and videos. And everything besides that, I just get drunk and I'm not doing anything.
Right, you take some mushrooms, you get a little drunk.
I did take mushrooms before my shift yesterday.
I could tell.
I took mushrooms before my shift, and I was like, yeah, that'll be cool. And then a guy was filming, and I was like, hey, man, you can't film. And then he goes, since when?
Yeah, you don't want to hear that when you're trying to tell someone not to.
And I just go, and the problem, and then I flip quick.
You flip too quick.
I mean, I love it.
Yeah, you love yelling at anyone.
I didn't even yell, but I just love it when people want to have attitude, and I'm like, okay, we can do attitude. I'm jumping to anger, though.
Yeah.
So he's like, since when? And I go, I try to be nice to you. Don't fucking sense-when me, okay? You
Right.
just can't take fucking pictures. I don't care that he's your friend. Because that's what they always say. They go like, well, that's my friend. I'm like, that's great. How about you go up there and suck his dick? Just don't take a picture. Like,
Right.
I don't give a fuck what you do. I don't care that you're friends. I hope he dies tonight. That'd
Right.
be very funny if I said that.
I hope he dies
If he goes,
tonight.
that's my friend, I go, I hope he dies tonight.
Yeah, that is. I mean, he would probably be like, "I'm sorry," and put the camera down. With all this stuff going on in the news, I feel like that phrase coming from you would really throw off a guy who's just trying to have a good time.
You know what's so funny about me is I am so not racist. I didn't even think about the fact that I'm saying that about a black dude.
What do you mean? Oh yeah, the dies tonight.
I just want people to die, but not. I just like
Yeah.
just threatening death.
Yeah, that's your vibe.
Yeah. And then another guy was filming with a full-on camera and a gimbal, and the host had told him before you can't film. And
What's a gimbal? I'm sorry.
it's that shit where like
Oh, yeah,
you
the
can-
camera stays steady?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, coming into a place that doesn't allow filming with a gimbal is such a powerful fucking move.
There's also another comic, Moha.
Yeah, I know,
Dude,
Mo.
He was just filming too, and I go up, I go, you can't film. You know you can't film.
Yeah, Mo's been
And he
around.
goes, it's just for him. And I'm like, our boss is here. Like, the owner is here.
Mo's got a good heart. I think he was probably just like excited to see his friend on stage.
Yeah, great. I don't give a fuck. It's like, I don't think people understand. It's like, if you're going to do something that I will get in trouble for,
You're at your work.
I don't care.
You're at your job.
People are like, you're not going to let me film my friend?
It's your job.
It's like, no.
It's a very, I mean, I don't think people understand, or maybe they do, they're just not, we talked about this where people will know what's wrong or right, but sometimes they just don't take considerations because, especially with comedy, it's a thing that requires you to be in your own head. Do you know what I mean? Like, to an
Yeah.
extent, you need to be in your own little world, otherwise you're not going to be able to perform. So it's an industry of people who are in their own heads, which really is difficult because if you're always thinking about yourself, you're not really thinking about the little things that people are going through. And you in that situation are not only at your job, it's at like one of the most important quote unquote jobs
Yeah.
in comedy, because if you fill your functions correctly at your job, you will be able to stay at the store. And that's like the most important thing in the world to you. So
Yeah.
when people are breaking the rules and they're fellow comedians and they see you as a peer, it's like, well, also I'm working. It's a very confusing situation you're in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't know why anyone assumes that I want to help them out. And and I could be nicer, but my
Sure.
view of almost every comic that comes to the store is like, get in a car crash and die.
Yeah.
Like, I do not want to help. I did not get into this industry to help people.
You got in
And-
to get up.
Yeah, to
trying
make
to
a
get up.
fucking career.
Right.
Okay, and it's like, I understand, you can't do it alone, but it's also not like, of course you can film. It's not, the owner's here, and that's the one thing he gets furious about, but sure.
Right.
Because you want to.
But just as a proposition, maybe those people don't know the gravity of it, and it is sort
They
of
don't.
a hook me up situation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like, why would I do this if I did not have to? Why would I come up to you and tell you? Why would I tell an adult not
Right.
to do something if I did not think that I kind of have to?
Yeah.
Because there's two things I got to do. So yeah, then the guy with the gimbal's there. And at first, I just let him come in with his gimbal, and I was just gonna let him film because I don't know. I was like, I think he asked the club. I really just wasn't trying to deal with it at all.
I mean, it's exhausting, isn't it?
I hate telling people not to do shit. But then the host goes up to him, I guess, and told him he couldn't film. So then later he's filming, and I go up to the host. I'm like, you told him he couldn't film, right? She's like, yeah. So I go up to him, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm sorry you can't film. And then he goes, this guy literally hired me, which is just funny because you want to be like, okay, well, this guy,
Yeah, be mad at that guy.
yeah, he was wrong.
Also, it's like, motherfucker, you're going to get paid either way, I hope. Like, do you not trust this guy to pay you even though he was a dumbass?
Right, exactly. And like there was a show before, and the guy filmed it, and he goes, yeah, I checked with the managers. It's cool. Which is so funny because it's relatively simple. It's like you just ask the club.
Ask the club, and they'll be like, okay, cool.
Yeah. And,
But the things people will do, like, when I worked at the meditation center, The one rule is you don't bring your phone in the room. You cannot have your phone in the room under any circumstances. If you're in a situation in which you need your phone, do not come to class. Like, don't have your phone in the room.
Yeah.
Seems really simple. And it makes a lot of sense because we can't trust people to shut their ringers off, and we can't trust people to shut their alarms off. And if one phone alarm goes off, it ruins the class for everybody, including the teacher.
Yeah.
And people didn't get it. People didn't get. You would see these people confused and like gape mouthed that they had to turn their phones in.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, well, what if I get a call? And it's like, what if you get a call?
That's always the thing I don't understand is when people start counter arguments.
Yeah.
And you're like, all of your counter arguments are selfish arguments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, these are all associated with you.
Yeah.
It's always the thing where it's like, stop filming. That's my friend. And it's like, the filming is the problem.
We all do that.
It's not
though.
like friendship surpasses it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
I have very often been in a situation where I get really mad at someone, but then I realize, like, oh, I'm only seeing this through my perspective, and anger isn't the best reaction to this.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be worse at it, but now I'm even better at it of just like, if somebody who works somewhere tells me not to do something, I'm like, you got it.
Yeah.
Or I'll leave.
Yeah.
I'll just leave the business. I don't understand staying within a business and wanting to fight the rules of it, where it's like, what war are you waging? You know what I mean? It's like, just go.
Well, you know, in this in that meditation thing that I read, one of the things it said is, like, people don't always shoplift because they need the thing. They shoplift because they're fighting against this system of money that they feel like isn't fair, which is true. And it's like a petulant way of, you know, kind of counteracting that. And that's how I feel with those things, where you're in this place that is incredibly powerful and is full of powerful people. I mean, not in the grand scheme of things, but in the thing you want to do, they're fucking powerful.
Sure, yeah.
And you're like, well, anything I can do that makes it seem, even if it's just getting in the back patio, or hang out in the hallway for a second, or someone being like, hey, you can hang out back here, or like any little thing you can get means the world to you, because then it's like, I this is my place.
Yeah.
Instead of respecting it, you want to go, I own this place.
Yeah. Which I don't understand, this way of trying to sneak. And the worst part was when I told that guy with the gimbal that he can't film. The first guy I told not to film fucking does the most annoying thing ever. He goes like, yeah, see, he wants to enforce all the rules. And I'm like, I don't want to tell people not to do stuff. So then I just called that guy a bitch. He's a grown-ass man. He didn't fight me.
He didn't. Yeah, if someone calls you a bitch, you have to fight them.
Which is a terrible thing. It's a terrible system men have set up for ourselves.
We didn't do a good job.
We did a really bad job.
We did a bad job.
It's a bad, and maybe actually that guy last night is trying to tear down.
Dude, that's why
heteronormative.
The patriarchy makes so much sense, because you look at how stupid and fucked up all the rules are, and you're like, guys did this.
Yeah.
The fellas had a hand in this.
The fellas had a hand in
the
it.
fellas did this.
Yeah. Everyone's pissed.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's
pissed. No, nothing makes any sense. You can't be happy. It's like the boys kind of ran wild for a little bit.
Yeah. The whole thing though of like everybody, because like at the Comedy Store there's it's the dumbest name ever. It's called Sacred Grounds.
Yeah.
And it's just a back patio where it's kind of made for like famous people, so they're not clobbered.
Right.
But no huge comic that has fans I have ever really seen back.
Never, except I told you the Brian Simpson story of him bringing me back there.
Kind of.
Dude, Brian is... I don't know if we've talked about Brian on the podcast, but he takes you on the road from time to time.
A couple times, yeah.
Which is incredible, because he's one of the funniest guys.
Yeah, he's
like
up-and-coming comedian. His stuff's on Netflix. He's going to be huge and, you know...
one of the funniest guys ever.
The next few years,
truly.
He'll be literally humongous. But he's big now. I mean, he's doing good.
Yeah, he's much bigger. But we had done a show in San Diego where the car ride down was one of the funniest things of all time. Because Brian talking in the car is just like... it's almost like a collage of ideas.
He just will like straight up go to sleep and then just wake up and just be like,
in the middle of his own conversation.
you know, we're deep in this, man. And you're like, what?
Dude, I told you, we were sitting in silence for like 10 minutes, not uncomfortable when we were just chilling. Then he goes, so yeah, I'm sort of like a tech guy.
And you're like, hell
you're like,
yeah.
that's awesome. And then we just started talking about it. It's like a good way. He's like, we're not going to bullshit through starting this conversation. I know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But after we had that.
I'll tell you what we're talking about.
Yeah. After we had that experience, I go to the Comedy Store and he's there and he's like, yo, come back to the back patio and hang out for a second. I was like, fucking sick. That's so nice of him. And he sits down, and it's like a bunch of people there. No one famous, but like people who were better known at the store than me.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anyone except Brian. And we both sit down, and immediately Brian just puts headphones on and starts listening to music.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there, and I was like, all right, up to you, Danny. Let's do this.
Yeah.
It was so funny. And it's like, I appreciate it because I was like, this is hilarious. That's the thing in comedy where people will get annoyed at people being like quirky and interesting. And it's like, motherfucker, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's our job. Like, we're supposed to be a little weird.
Yeah.
Do you want everybody to wear suits?
Right.
And fucking network all the time? Those are the worst comics.
Yeah.
They're the worst ones.
Totally.
I've been taking the dogs on the road lately, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a touch of the dogs on the road.
Right.
I asked you, but you're a busy man.
Yeah, that sucked. I wanted to go so fucking bad.
It's okay. We took Will Sennett.
Right.
Real fucking stalwart meerkat, that man.
Yeah.
We took Nate Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
Strong man. Nate, that's a perfect example where we're doing a set. Nate has a lot of real specific shit that he needs in his life. Yeah. Like, he's very particular.
Right.
And he needed a hamburger before his set.
That was a really interesting story. You said he couldn't do a set if he didn't eat something.
If he didn't have a full stomach. And I had offered, like, do you want to go get a Cliff Bar? He said, no, I have to have a full stomach to perform stand-up. And I couldn't be mad because that's hilarious.
That is hilarious.
It is so funny. And he didn't affect getting to the show at all because of it. We just got there and he immediately, instead of like, schmoozing, goes to a hamburger place, gets a big ass hamburger, and he's the first comic up, and he is just doing a hamburger challenge before his set just to fill his tummy. He must have done that set like he must have been dry heaving. Like, he housed a burger.
I can't do that.
I'm the exact opposite. I don't want to have a full tummy when I do stand up.
Not at all.
It's the weirdest demand I've ever heard from a person.
Yeah. I mean, he's a bit of a tummy out guy.
Yeah.
He's going to have a beer belly.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
Kind of see it.
You're never going to get fat, do you think?
I think I will.
You think you're going to be fat?
I don't think I have like stay skinny forever genes.
I think you don't exercise and you eat like shit and you're skinny.
I think I'm just young.
Yeah, it could be.
I think that's it. I think I'm just young. I think it's going to catch up to me.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad was like skinny when he was my age, and now he just has a dad body.
Yeah.
It's like he could lose weight, but I don't even know what he would look like if he lost weight.
You'll have one of them.
Dad.
Yeah.
I just need to start working out.
Do you want to stay twinky your whole life?
I would love to just stay
twink out.
Can
I say that? Is that okay?
Yeah.
I've had people not like it when I say the word twink.
I think that's bullshit.
You think it's bullshit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's not. Twink is like. It's just a way of describing a skinny gay guy.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing. I don't think. I love them.
It's not like this is our word. Like, it's just twink.
I mean, I would never disrespect. I mean, listen, those people make me feel things I never thought I'd feel before. You know what I mean?
Gay.
A little bit.
Dan is gay.
What?
In this Pride Month episode, Dan is gay.
Yeah, just for pride, to celebrate it.
For pride, Dan is gay.
I've decided to stand with the rest of the podcast. And hold hands with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna also be gay.
Okay. You know what I just think is funny about the people schmoozing is there's a guy at the Comedy Store who I do just feel bad saying his name, and it also makes it easier for me to call him a loser without saying his name.
Yeah, let's not.
He is banned from the Belly Room and Sacred Grounds because of how many times he has been told not to go there. Either the Belly Room is too full, Sacred Grounds, he's just not allowed to be there.
Right.
And he routinely
That's the beautiful
goes up there.
The beautiful thing about LA is you will never be able to predict the depths to which people's egos are out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Because I hear that, and this is a person who's never performed at the store.
They've done like roast battle and stuff. They've
done
never done a
so they've
show.
they've never performed at the store.
Yeah,
They were made fun of by more famous comedians.
and the
at
whole
the store.
club, all the managers know him. He is known by the club
Maybe that is a smart way
through
of
and through.
getting into it. You know what I mean?
And it's just so funny because
Being
I want to go
famous
up
like
to him
that.
and just be like, "You have no shot here.
Yeah,
You have killed any chance you have
sure.
of ever getting on this stage.
Right.
And you kill it more and more
Every day.
time you come." Because we had a meeting where they were like, "Stop letting comics to that back area." And then the fucking manager goes up to the security guard. He goes, "That is really only about the guy we're talking about right now."
He's a celebrity, but in a bad way.
Yeah, he's in at the store,
Literally
in the way of,
infamous.
being the worst.
Have you ever had that anywhere? Have you ever been like a pariah in a situation?
No, because I am so embarrassed. I mean, unless I just don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
But I am so embarrassed of being in a place I don't need to be at.
Yeah.
That's why before I worked at the store, I was too young, but I went, like 5 times with a fake ID before I got kicked out. But I would only go on Mondays, and it's because that's when the open mic is.
right.
Don't be in a place where you don't have a reason to be.
Right.
Because, like, you see it at the store. When guys walk up and you're just like, this guy's no fucking reason to be here. You know what I
It's
mean?
people who don't actually like comedy. They like the idea of being comedians.
Exactly.
Because if you really like comedy, you understand there's functional reasons for me to be at the store, and it's A, to watch better comedians,
Yeah.
and B, if I am booked there.
Yeah.
But if you're just there and you don't go into the OR at all, and you're just hanging out at the patio, maybe if your friends are there and there's like a group, I get it, like you're already in the area, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're doing that consistently, find another place to hang out, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, this is not the place to get fucking hammered.
No. It's literally, it's like going to a job you want to work at.
Yeah.
Literally, and just getting drunk at it.
But that's the thing about this industry. I mean, we were just talking about this, where it's like, the thing that makes these people funny a lot of times is that they're not professional. Is that it's a bunch of people that are incredibly unprofessional. And I find myself in this really weird position sometimes where I try to stop my friends from self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times that's the only thing holding these people back.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of funny people, you included, but it's not being rude for you, it's being angry. But it's
Yeah.
like, it's the only thing that could get in your way.
Hopefully.
And I feel
guess
as though
laziness.
for my shortcomings, which there are many, I do feel like maybe I don't get in my way.
You
that
present
often.
a good image.
I present a good
You
image.
present a pretty solid image. I think there seems to be one difference of like, I think a big thing is some people are like, I can have a couple beers. And then I think you have a thought of like,
Why would I?
why would I?
Why the
or
fuck
I can get,
why would I risk it?
Yeah.
Why would I take the risk? It's like,
Yeah.
I think part of that is being all in or all out. And I think if you're all in, you're in a place where you're just considering like, okay, how is this serving the end goal, which for me is being like a touring headliner with specials.
Yeah.
If you want that, it's like, yeah, why would you get... And again, this is with full understanding, some comics operate well getting fucked up. But if you're already established in that place, but if you like act like a buffoon in a club, it all comes down to being funny on stage, I guess. You can be funny enough where you can get away with that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
There's no way around that. But if you're at a place where I know I am, where it's like, I'm good at comedy and I'm trying to get better at it, but I'm not a fucking savant at it.
Yeah, it's not like people are going to be like, well, it's fine that Dan's hammered.
Yeah.
He's Dan.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I have that understanding.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll someday maybe, But it's like right now, I just am trying to fucking keep my head down and get better at stand up, and getting drunk at the comedy store is one of the worst ways to try to accomplish that.
It's a terrible idea.
Terrible idea.
That's and like the comedy store is a place where I don't think act a fool. I didn't work there.
Right.
But I do have a problem with that of like, oh, why would you drink? And it's like I talk about it with my therapist where he's like, I don't think you don't like being around yourself.
Yeah, you don't.
And so you have to shut it down.
You have to alter it. It's not even shutting it down. You just have to be like, you don't want to be around yourself when it's pure. You want to like water it down.
Yeah, because it's like me just like daily sober is like hanging out with like the worst dude ever. Like, just anything you do, it's just like, the fuck is this?
But that's just how you feel. It's not actually true.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, it's how I feel, so it, isn't that kind of the same thing?
No.
Or what do you mean?
No, because I think that because you...
I do have control over it. I'm not saying
you have control over it.
I'm not saying I don't.
No, but I'm saying because you so often will, like, escape into drugs,
yeah,
I think... when you see the real version of yourself, it's just jarring to you. Where you're like, oh, this is the worst guy ever, but really it's just you're not used to it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's also like you get tired of it too. Where it's like, I've been this guy the whole time. So
right.
It's like you just being naturally intense all the time. You just get to a point where you're like, all right. Like, because I felt a change in myself of, like, just wanting to be less intense. Or, like, I think it's like my dad is a poet. Like, I think I had, like, a want for intellectualism.
I wonder if your testosterone's just too high.
Maybe.
What if we get you on estrogen?
I don't know. What would happen?
Maybe you'd get calm. Maybe you'd find inner peace.
Would I get boobs?
You get a big fat ass.
Oh, okay. That would be nice.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be nice. But yeah, that is the intersection of doing things that serve no purpose other than not being horribly sad, which is a purpose in itself. But there's a lot better ways to not feel that way. There's just better ways to do it.
That's the thing. I always find myself in a really hard place because I never want to come, and I often do because I think at my core I kind of am this guy. Like, I don't want to come off as a judgmental hardo. That's my biggest, the most annoying thing about me is that I can be a judgmental hardo.
Yeah. But you just don't put it on other people, though.
I try not to, but I can.
Yeah,
I have.
But it's like the way you phrased it before, where you're like, "Why would I drink?" You weren't saying it in the way of like, "Why would you drink?"
But that's because
you say it to yourself.
I know how comics are, and I know that you can't put all of them in the same box because some people. Imagine if someone said that to Stanhope. It's like, no, that's how he is.
He's
like,
good at drinking.
He's great at it.
Yeah,
he's the best in the world at it. But yeah, it's like I can be sort of that judgmental hardo character when it comes to this. But what I was going to say is I'll see people who are in states of like real depression and real sadness. And for a guy like me, the hardest thing is to not go like, well, you're not doing the basic things, which is literally like finding a schedule with your sleep, which all of those people like can't accomplish, but some of them can. Like some of them just choose not to. Drinking enough water, getting enough sunlight, like all that shit, going on walks. Yeah. And when they're not doing that, people like me can get frustrated at that. But what we all have to learn is that it's such an oversimplification of the greater problem, which is that a lot of people have trouble or a literal inability to serve themselves in that way because of what's going on in their own inner worlds.
Yeah, no, it's completely like cyclical. I was talking about that with my mom yesterday.
You know what it's like, dude? It's literally like seeing a mom who doesn't love their child and being like, well, just love them. Yeah. Do the things that a person who loves someone would do.
Yeah.
But that's not how people work. It's this very robotic understanding of people. Like, I think that's where the fucking like the you gotta wake up at 4 a.m. every morning, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's where those people, depression isn't real. Yeah. You just aren't. That's what those people don't understand is it's literally about love. It's not about action. It's about love. And love isn't something you can dictate.
Yeah.
Love is something that you have to slowly like incorporate and learn, and it's a much more fluid thing than the regimented like da 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 da.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, like it's funny. I was joking to my therapist where I'm like, it's funny I'm all right, but I also don't think I realize that I am sadder than most people.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes that's confusing. Like I was talking about this with our friend, and she was like, yeah, my therapist was like, no, most people are not depressed. And she was like, what?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, they're just not. And it's like, I don't view myself as a person with a harder life than anybody, but it is weird because I was like talking about it with my mom yesterday, and she was like, well, it's like you just got to do those things that make you happy. Why wouldn't you do those things? And I'm like, well, because I'm not happy. And they're like, and she was like, well, it would make you happy to do it. I'm like, I know that.
Yes.
But I'm not doing it.
Me and your mom are so similar in that way. Like,
Yeah.
I think me and your mom and my mom are very similar in that way. But yeah, it's a fundamental misunderstanding that we have. And it's really like, it's one of those things where you just have to shut up and listen for a second to how people feel. And then you start getting it, like with depressed people.
Yeah.
Because the A-types, like, inclination towards someone saying that they're depressed are to just kind of rattle off like, we'll do this and this and this.
Yeah.
But that's not the root of the problem. You're not getting to the root of the problem. You're dealing with the leaves.
Yeah.
And every time you deal with the leaves, it doesn't matter how long you keep that up. You're not getting to the source of it.
Yeah.
Where it's like an alcoholic, if you just tell them to stop drinking, sure, they'll stop drinking for a second.
Right.
But they'll go back to it if you don't treat their, like, the inner causes of, like, whatever trauma led them to drinking so much.
Yeah.
But if you're outside and you're not an alcoholic, it seems like the easiest thing in the world. It's like, alcohol's ruining your life.
Right.
Stop drinking alcohol.
Yeah. That's why it's fucked up. It's like alcohol is ruining my life. I hate my life. The only thing that makes me feel better is alcohol.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. Yeah, and that's a problem because it's like there's no logic to it where people are like, why you do that? And you're like, because I want to die. Like,
Right.
I felt bad because I said this to my mom, but we were having this conversation, and I didn't yell at her, but I kind of like broke, and I wasn't aggressive towards her. I broke in just the way that I just said something I would rather not say to my mom.
Totally.
She was like, why do you do that? And I'm like, because I don't want to be alive.
Right.
I'm like, because I don't think I'm worth doing any of those things.
Right.
So if you're coming from a place of not even wanting to be alive and thinking that you should kill yourself,
Maybe a little bit of sunlight ain't going to help that.
it's a lot harder to be like, well, I bet if I just go and take a walk. But the thing is, she's not wrong either. If I take a walk, I will feel better. The
Yeah.
problem, though, is like it's not something that gets fixed. It's just something you get better at handling.
Yeah.
Where it's like my brain will never be awesome. I will work on changing my neural pathways to make more positive habits out of thinking, and go to positivity rather than negativity. But at the end of the day, it's like I still have a brain that's like, put a gun in your mouth, Cooper. You know what I mean?
I
So
think it's
like,
also a part with guys' depression. I think a lot of it does come from not being in touch with our feminine sides, not in a way where it's like, oh, if we were more feminine, it would be better. But there's this guy I know.
it's very aggressive.
Yeah.
Depression, yeah.
But there's this guy I know, like fucking bull, dude. Like former military, is like really good at martial arts and like MMA and shit. Fucking loves guns, jacked, like absolute tank.
Yeah.
But he'll have these spells, and he posts about it sometimes, which is like really, really interesting that you're allowed into it from time to time. But he'll go through these real spells of like depression, and I think with a lot of guys, I don't think he's necessarily like he's dealing with it, but in the way that a lot of those guys do, where it's like, I just got to get back to working out for 5 hours a day, and I got to get back to like fucking doing jujitsu every single, which is good. Listen, I've been like, that's also me.
Yeah.
But I think a big part is also understanding and accepting. Because if you let those kind of waves of sadness really crash over you and you accept them and you integrate them, which I think in a way is like being in touch with your feminine side, which is like understanding you don't have control over it and it's okay. Mm-hmm. And you need to be able to like take that shit in and integrate it rather than like fight against it all the time. You
Yeah.
need a degree of both, but I think a lot of guys, especially those hyper macho guys, have real trouble with that, and that's why they'll have those big blowouts is because they're not thinking of it in terms of like I have to surf this wave. They're thinking of I have to punch the fucking ocean.
Right.
And you're gonna get tired eventually
You're
punching the ocean. Not me though. I've done it and I've won every time.
I wonder if part of that difference is women's connection with their bodies. That's a lot different from men's. Because
Yeah,
it's
like they have to live in their bodies more because of kind of the stuff that happens.
Because things like happen to women's body. Like a period is like, oh, this is now something internal that is happening to me. So I don't know. I just wonder if like then when emotions happen, it's like, okay, this is happening to me, which is the way you should think about those things. Is you shouldn't, like, if you get depressed, then you start, thinking you're a piece of shit, and then you're like, I'm a piece of shit. When what you should say is like, something's happening to me where I'm now saying I'm a piece of shit.
Dude, it is so funny when men judge women's bodies because even if a woman's body doesn't meet like the beauty standards of the modern day, it's still so much more interesting than a man's body. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we're just cum factories.
Just cum factories.
There's nothing really going on except just fucking making cum.
Yeah. Yep. We're
like guys will see a woman on a magazine and be like, "That's not who I want to see on a magazine." It's like you're designed to make cum.
Yeah. No.
How about you relax?
Yeah. No. We're like just a machine that's in the back of a warehouse. It's like nobody's seeing it. It doesn't need to look.
You can have a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
No one's saying you can't.
Yeah. If there's a God, he was like, if there's a dick, then it's on him.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Yeah, let's make some cum robots for these ladies.
Yeah. Just make some cum robots, and that'll be it. But yeah, that's why I was worried when you started, when you were, had a little spell of
had a little depressive
sadness.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
My one thing, I was like, I just hope Dan doesn't stop his routine.
No,
because that's what fucks you up. Because then you're like, oh, I'm such a piece of. Then you think you have no power.
You double down.
Like, I don't fucking do this. That's my problem. But it's like, I don't know. It is just the funniest thing about depression is like your wins are so pathetic, but you like have to, I guess, be happy.
You got to put them on the chalkboard.
Like the other day, like a win was just going to 2 parties by myself and not thinking, oh, nobody would ever want you there.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll just go.
No, it's money.
And then I went, and then everyone was so fucking nice to me.
Oh, yeah.
And it was awesome, Or it's like, or even like, I don't know. It's like my mom wakes up at 4:30 every day and just does shit all day. Yeah. Just does shit all day.
Mine too.
They're
cut from a different cloth.
I write like an hour a day. I've been doing it consistently for like the last 5 days, writing an hour a day. Except yesterday.
Dude, women in that fucking generation are so crazy. Like, you're in my mom's age group are so crazy because they started working the, like, kind of careers that they have before women really, like, a lot of the guys they were working with had never worked with a woman before. And they were like, better make a fucking good impression.
Yeah.
It's so crazy how, like, tough they had it.
Right. Yeah, and it was interesting, too, because my mom was a hairdresser, so she's always worked with women, but now she's a driver. She's a union driver for studios.
That's nuts.
And like one of the guys that drives, he was like, yeah, man, when she was getting her union card, and they said driver, all the guys were like, what?
Yeah.
What? Like,
yeah.
But I love my mom because it's like she picks specific material goals and just goes after it. Where that she works so fucking hard, and it's just because she wants a pool. And that's enough.
It's enough.
And that's where me and my mom differ, where it's like, I do want shit, and probably more than I realize.
But whoa, not to cut you off. It's not just that she wants it. It's that she thinks she deserves it.
Yeah, and that's true. Yeah. She wants nice shit.
And she thinks she deserves that nice shit.
Yeah.
And so she goes after it.
Yeah. Wow, that's smart. It's a good way of thinking about shit because, but she gets it. But it is very funny because I remember one time I was sad for no reason, and then she was like, "Hey, well, you got that hoodie this week," and I'm like, "What the fuck?"
What the
and
fuck?
Like, and I never. I'm very surprised. I don't think I've ever yelled at my mother.
No, that's good.
Yeah, we have we have a thing, and like she's never really yelled at me, but she will in a very nice way be like, "Stop being a bitch."
Yeah, stop being a bitch.
In the weirdest way ever.
Yeah.
Like just the most aggressive she got to me is I remember I was like crying about something. I said something dumb of like, "I want to be a comedian. I can give you money or whatever." And then she just looked at me like, you're a loser. And I was like, that's a great way to parent, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, is you don't get aggressive with your kid. You show them what the world would think, and the world is like, what the fuck?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
But I mean, yeah, she's great at it because she's just like, I want a pool, and so I'm going to work 14-hour days. And
Not
it's like,
us, baby. We're toiling.
that's because I remember like I work at night and I have my whole days free. And my friend who has 5 jobs for no fucking reason and my therapist are both like, you should get a day job. And I'm like, I value my time more than my money.
You shouldn't get a day job.
Yeah, which is a privileged position because I don't need that money.
But you
to
make
live.
Enough at the store, too.
I make enough.
Yeah.
I make enough.
And you're a comedian and you need to rest.
And also what I think is so funny is people are like, you should get a day job. I'm like, no, I should just consider my free time as part of my comedy job.
Of course.
Which is what I try and do, where I'm like, okay, I have
You're
this
always
time.
writing bits.
I have to, write some shit. It's like, but I don't know. I just think it's so funny where it's like, and this is obviously if I had grown up like in a worse position where I was worrying about money all the time, it would definitely be different. And that, it's kind of funny because that's like if you grow up middle class or up, that's like the virtue that you need to find where it's like, I am sad and my life is awesome. And
Right.
so that's like the vision that you get from being financially stable is that, oh, money doesn't make you happy.
Yeah.
Like I know that. And
Yeah.
I've always known that. And that's like, I wouldn't call it a comfort, but that's interesting to me because I'm like, oh, Cooper, you can be the happiest in the world right now, and no career success will make you happier at all.
Right.
If anything, if you're not ready, it will make you worse.
Will make, dude. Now that I'm like, things have been going well enough for me, where from time to time people will like come up to me and be like, "Oh, I like your videos" or whatever. I was like, if I wasn't in a healthy headspace, this would ruin me.
Yeah.
This would suck.
Yeah.
I would not be like ready for this. I would deal with it poorly. I would be all fucked up in the head about it.
Yeah.
I would be like, because even now I have those thoughts where it's like, oh, did I not talk to that person for long enough, or did I not show them enough of my time and attention and stuff?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. And you're ready for it. If I had like a Pete Davidson success right now, I would be dead in 2 years.
Yeah, you'd be dead.
Which is like the one thing that I remember.
And hey,
of,
he
like,
might be.
He might be.
We
dead
don't
soon.
know.
But that's like the thing is like there. I'm like, honestly, thank God I'm not popping off in any way. And it's like I also try to remember like this is one of the most fun times that comedy is going to be.
Oh yeah.
Like it's going to get like if things go well,
It's gonna get less fun.
then it's more of a job.
Yeah.
You get to do more fun shows, but right now it's like I have no responsibilities.
It goes in a circle, right? Because you have you're right in that you right now are having a lot of fun, and I think down the line you'll have a lot of fun, but in the middle, which is kind of where I'm
starting
starting
to get
off
there.
the middle.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get to the middle,
Yeah.
and it's hard.
You're like a barnacle of headliners.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
I'm like fucking I started climbing up the open mic thing thinking that it would be clear sky, and it's actually the bottom of a much bigger ship.
You walked up the ladder and then something hit your head and you realized it was just shit.
Yeah,
and then
and
now
I was
you're
like,
just like,
oh, whoa,
what
whoa,
the
whoa,
fuck?
what's happening?
But then,
luckily, I even love the shit.
Yeah, you gotta love the shit.
I love the shit.
But that's what's funny is like, I need affirmation from comedy so much. Like the other day, I had kind of the best that I've had in months, where the entire room is laughing, pretty much the entire time. The only reason it wasn't perfect is 2 of the laugh lines only got like 75%.
Yeah,
So the rest got like
100,
95 to 100.
something crazy.
Which in my head I'm like, fuck.
Yeah,
But it was so funny is I was happy after that set, But when I really think about it, I'm so narcissistic that it wasn't like, oh, I'm so glad that set went well. It was, I'm so glad the set went how it's supposed to go every time.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I'm like, that's who I am.
That's not narcissism, though. I think that's good. I
But,
think that's good.
You know, I mean, there's levels to it.
Yeah.
But also, like, one bad thing I do is if I go on stage at the Comedy Store, the lot is perfect because I will stand there to be in the eyesight of people who've seen me.
Right.
So I get compliments.
Right.
And as far as I can remember, unless I just haven't been around the people that are in the show, every single time I've gone on stage, I've gotten at least 3 compliments.
Great.
And if I get any less than 3, I want to blow my
You wanna
brains.
kill
I
yourself.
consider it a failure.
I've been there, brother.
Which is just, I don't know. I think it's funny because there's ways to do that are not necessarily unhealthy.
Right.
I'm definitely doing it in an unhealthy way. But I do think it's funny where it's like, you know, we're around some people who you see have an okay set and they're like, it was a good set. And you just want to be like, how do you live with yourself?
Right.
How do you live without
Happily.
perfection?
Dude, their
you know?
fucking head hits the pillow and they're transported to beautiful, beautiful sleep land.
Yeah, but that's what but that's what I realized. Where it's like, if things went well, it would just be greater versions of that, and I wouldn't be like, awesome, this is so amazing. I'd be like, yeah, finally, what I fucking deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Because in my head, I have to think I'm the greatest comedian of all time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you kind of do and you don't, but comedy's such a stupid industry that to keep doing it, the only reason you would keep doing it is being like, well, one day I could be the best at this.
Right. Yeah.
But also, it's a very unartistic thought. Like, a reason, I guess the real reason we keep doing it is because we love it. You know, I don't think I would do something just because I think I could be the best at it. So I'm kind of going back on what I said.
You're Mr. Contradiction. Hey, Coop.
Which is...
You do anything gay?
No, I keep talking to guys on Grindr and then not fucking them.
Any cool ones?
I was talking to a guy. He sent me a bunch of pictures of his dick and smooth asshole in a skirt.
Oh, how smooth we talking?
Pretty smooth.
Smooth as
I
hell.
don't understand how those guys get their assholes that smooth.
They wax them.
I guess it's waxing.
Yeah, I might get mine waxed up.
How often do you have to do that?
I don't know, but I think it would feel beautiful.
I've shaved as best I could down there.
Yeah.
Feels very interesting.
Yeah.
Just feels slick. Like, why is it so
Yeah.
slick?
I don't mind that.
But wiping rocks.
That's one of the reasons why I might do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, wiping rocks hard. But yeah, I don't know. I keep talking. But I'm having sex with someone else, so it's like, I would obviously use a condom if then I had sex with another person.
Mhm.
But there's also a level to which you also just kind of want to get tested
Yeah,
too, you know? So it's sort of like, oh, I can go fuck this guy, but then I have to do all these other things.
Dude, that was what was funny with COVID, because I was sleeping with someone who wanted me to get a COVID test every time before we had sex, and I was like, this is the only kind of test you want?
That is hilarious.
I was like, this is it? This is my only
Yeah.
barrier to entry?
Yeah.
It was very funny.
They're like, I'm fine with, herpes and HIV.
Right.
But just,
Both of which famously I have.
Yeah.
Um,
Famously you do. Did you do anything straight?
Did I do anything straight? I did. I got in an argument with my girlfriend where I got too serious in her feelings. And that's one of the straightest things you can do.
Yeah. Did you say baby when you apologized?
I would know.
You're
I
not
mean,
a baby guy.
Dude, when you're going, I remember very distinctly, I was in middle school, but I would take the bus from Barrington, Rhode Island back to Cape Cod, which is like 45 minutes. It was like a private bus, basically. Like, all of our parents would chip in because it was like a special school, and so they didn't want to drive every time.
Just so you know, everyone listening just thinks this is a short bus.
It was a van.
Yeah.
Yeah. So close. The driver of it, Dave,
But I understand what you're saying.
he used to be our driver. He was the driver during the story, but he pulled a knife on a kid, and we got a new driver.
I don't think you should get kicked out for pulling knives on people.
It wasn't even the threat. He was like, just so you know, and then he pulled the knife out and clicked. He was like, I got a knife.
Oh, that's bullshit. Yeah.
It's bullshit. R.I.P. Dave. But anyway, I remember on this bus, this guy was arguing with his girlfriend on the phone because he was in high school. He was like 17, but I was in like 6th grade, 7th grade. And I'll always remember, like, in the argument, he's like, "Wait, no, come on, baby, 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 baby," and like that sticks in my head. And I remember being like, "I never want to be there."
Do you guys? What do you call each other?
Me and Tony,
Yeah, is it just your names?
Pig.
Pig?
We call each other Pig.
You call each other Pig.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because usually in a relationship, only one person's getting called Pig. And
No, we're both Pig.
Do you have any names?
Trash can.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Trash can in the oil slick.
This is sad.
That's us.
Not even just...
I walk into a restaurant, I go, "Hey, do you have a reservation for trash can in the oil slick?"
Oh, my God. You guys are gross.
Yeah.
I thought you guys were a way more put-together couple than
No,
this.
we walk in there. Each of us have one flip-flop on because we only could afford the pair.
Yeah.
And we go, "One table for trash can in the oil slick." And they go, "We've heard about you."
You should get into like a Sid Vicious kind of relationship or like a Kurt Cobain, Courtney Love relationship that just ruins your life.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
You just start dating some girl that's just slamming H all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like punching me in the face.
And I meet her, and then she just walks up, and she's like,
Yeah, she falls down.
"It's nice to meet you."
Yeah, she's like doing this with her head.
It's the kind of thing where like you can tell like when you're meeting someone that they're trying to hold it together, but they just
Right.
can't.
Oh,
where
that's
they're
hard.
like, "Oh, I'm gonna go meet him. I will be good, but I'm gonna take
Yeah.
a pill."
And then they're thinking that the whole time, and then they go up to you and they're like, "Poof."
Yeah, yeah. This is my dad. That's the Leiden men. We're bad at drugs, but we
Yeah.
don't accept it. Like my dad's like falling asleep. Oh, this is a while ago before he got sober, but he was just falling asleep at Christmas.
So
And he's
funny.
always like, "I've been up for 2 days," and
So funny.
which is the funniest thing because it's like, all right, well that's also bad.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
what
yeah.
the fuck?
This
Like,
isn't an excuse.
yeah, which is weird 'cause he wasn't doing meth, so I don't know how the fuck he was staying up.
Yeah.
It was like downers, and shit, but he'd just be at Christmas and just be like.
So funny. Nodding off.
I remember just looking at him, it's kind of funny when you can look at your dad and just be justifiably furious.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, I never really was ever like, "Oh, Dad, I'm so fucking embarrassed by you." Like, I never really got mad at, like, they're just good, nice parents. Like,
Yeah.
I had no reason to argue with them. But then it just, like, when he's fucked up, you just look at him and you're like, "You're pathetic."
Yeah, this is
Where you're
pathetic.
like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
This is a bad way to end the episode.
No, this is a great way to end. Hey, please subscribe to the YouTube. It really helps us out, and we love you all. And yeah,
I'm getting a good stretch.
Keith's getting a good stretch. Thanks, everybody.